Hi everyone, and welcome to Storytime with Kate. You're probably wondering sometimes how to find the books for my circle time and reading sessions with children. I can help. I have some ideas there. When choosing a book for story time and storytelling session, I use recommended lists, but also I use age groups because different age groups, different books, and I also have other considerations, such as if this book is a good reading material for a group of children. So, for example, there are books that are great for individual learning, and there are great books for storytelling. So there are some wonderful books that are really great for one-on-one reading with a child. For example, could be chapter books. I used to read to my son Roald Dahl. We used to read all his books together every night. We would then continue, and it would be absolutely amazing because it would be a time of connection and time for us to not just listen to the story, but to relax, to discuss, ask questions. With a group of children, you want something that is also interesting and keeps the engagement, but it should be much shorter than chapter books. It doesn't mean that you cannot read chapter books to children. For example, if you have a rest time, it would be a good idea to read a chapter book. But you need something that is usually 15-20 minutes, and you also need a book with a potential for extension. So for example, this is the book that I really like. It's Puff the Magic Dragon, so it's got a CD, so you can read the book. It's got beautiful pictures, illustrations, and absolutely adorable story. Very beautiful story of Puff the Magic Dragon. Children do like dragons, and based on my experience, children absolutely love this story because it's romantic, it's beautiful, soft, and brings empathy, and it does cause a lot of questions as well, so it's got a really good reason, because it is a song, so you can also sing it with children. So this is an example of a good choice book for preschool age children. So the other type of books I would choose are traditional stories. In our case, we have Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander stories or creation stories. So this one is from place where I live, Melbourne, and this is Tidalit, the frog who caused flood. So these books are fantastic because they can link children to the First People culture. They also are about animals usually, or creatures, sky, earth, and nature, and they connect child to nature. But they also are quite interesting and engaging, and the art is also quite interesting. Quite often, you might have a lot of details to look at. The other thing that this can be played out and turn into dramatization, acting out. You can use puppets for this book as well, and you can put it as a provocation for many other experiences. So the other book I would choose is something funny. So that's an example of a funny book for preschoolers. The Witch's Breeches. Well, children like toilet humor. It's not a surprise for many preschool teachers. But anything to do with underpants or breeches in this case, so it's quite fun for them. And of course, what's happening? They're flying away. So there is an intrigue in this story. The character is quite interesting and relatable. So, and it's also rhymes well, so you can see that. Yeah, lots of interesting pictures as well for children to see different characters as well. That's a really good story. Next one is a twist of traditional stories. I do like traditional stories. So, for example, Goldilocks and Three Bears, children know, but when you start reading something with a slightly different title, they might be more engaged because that's a new story. Goldilocks and the Big Mess is obviously about Goldilocks who was messy, yes, and caused the mess. So it's a little bit of a twist with traditional story. What you can do is well is to engage children in the story, because they know the story usually, that their parents, foster carers, grandparents, aunties, uncles, someone read the story to them before. They are familiar with the story 100%, and they can contribute through let's say making sounds, continuing sentences, answering questions. So a lot of participation here. So for example, here when they hear like crash, they can participate, right? So that's a really good story that I would buy. This is another example of stories, again, silly. Little bunny Fufu, as I know, little rabbit Fufu, little bunny Fufu. So this one has also the CD, and it's by famous author Michael Rosen. So usually the book of the same author is a hit, might be a miss as well, but from my experience, this is a great story of rabbit Fufu based on traditional song. The CD books are fantastic because children can actually listen to them in the sound station, and it's also a great choice for the story. Also, some information books I would read to children, especially if we are going over the project. So this one is one of my favorite books. I like Urban Look Inside, Nature Look Inside, Bugs, Your Garden, etc. So these books are interactive, so not so much for reading, but you can kind of point. And what I really like about this book, if you look, you can actually pull down and read more. So based on my experience with children who are 3 to 5 and older as well, but 3 to 5, that's for sure, they do like to open books, so books that are interactive like that, so they do love. And my niece, for example, she asked me to read every single thing when we were reading about human body and dinosaurs. So this is an example of information book that I will buy for the story time. And finally, books that have meaning. So it doesn't mean that all other books do not have meaning, but these books are more intentional teaching. They are fostering social skills or kindness, or you want to read them in order to discuss some difficult issues or interesting topics such as diversity inclusion. So My Two Blankets by Rena Cobalt and Freya Blackwood. So really great story about friendship and immigration, migration in general, and displaced people. So I really like this story, and that's one of the examples of the book I would choose intentionally for the story time. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. What do you do during your story times? How do you choose the books? And share in the comments below, and join me in my Facebook groups. I have a lot of links below that are taking you to Instagram page and other wonderful websites where we can connect and discuss. Bye!